Alright, BobalosRex here. And today, we're talking Mop Classic, my plans, and some stuff everyone should do. You know, if you're a retail player, the first thing I'm doing here, you're going to want to do as a retail player. But then also, with the new changes going on with Mop Classic, what I may try to do. Okay, you know. We've seen how well I've stuck to things, alright? But let's get into it. We got some Wowhead posts to go through. So, if y'all don't know already, July 1st, Mop Classic pre-patch. And that would be in what game mode? So y'all know. It's called, right now, Cataclysm Classic. If you're playing Cataclysm Classic, this will turn into Miss the Pandaria Classic on the 1st. Alright? Well, it will be pre-patch, so it should switch over, but we'll see what it's on. But if you want to get started now, if you want to get ready, if you want to prepare, you'll be playing Cataclysm Classic. Alright? Not World of Warcraft Classic, Cataclysm Classic. World of Warcraft Classic's different. Alright? So, what is cooking? Alright? Why would I care as a retail player? Well, we'll get to it in a second. But it's going to be Mop Classic pre-patch. You can play a Pandaren. Okay, in pre-patch. Okay. You can play as Monk in the pre-patch. The classes will be revamped in the pre-patch. AoE looting will be in the pre-patch. World event, Attack on Theramore. If you missed that, you can do that. And pet battles will be in the game. Starting July 1st. Alright? Now, remember, you don't gotta buy this game mode. You don't gotta buy this. You know, if you are a retail player and you want to experience what Mop was like, you can just go do this. You're already paying for it. Alright? FYI. Then, on July 21st, that will be when you can play Mop itself. Alright? Crasserang, Level 90, Dungeons, you know, the new PvP Arena and Battlegrounds, the farm, scenarios, challenge modes, alright? They talked about the sod boost, but here's the thing for retail players. So this is my top plan, okay? So, from July 1st to July 30th, play through the Pandaren starting experience to earn this mount. Oh my goodness. Why does it look like this? Okay, well, yes, to earn this mount. Okay? All you gotta do is play a Pandaren, do the Pandaren starter thing. Alright? Easy peasy. Okay? I'm going to be playing a Monk. You don't got to play a Monk. You just got to make a Pandaren, complete the Pandaren starting experience, including choosing the path of either Alliance or Horde. Once completed, Shahaz Sage Serpent will be delivered to your collection in Modern WoW. Now, of course, you got the pre-order, yada yada yada. If you want all the goodies, you just need the Hero Pack. Okay? The only difference is the boost. Okay? If you want the goodies, just the Hero Pack. You don't need the Epic Pack. Okay? You don't need either to play. Remember that. Some people think that you need these to play. You do not. Okay? It does not cost you anything. Now, I'm going to for sure do the Pandaren Monk thing. But here's the thing. They've been changing stuff with Mop. And you're like, Mop Classic with changes? Because they've been changing Wrath a little bit. They've been changing this and that. One of the big changes... Actually, we'll talk about that later. We'll go on that rant. That's at the end. Alright? But now they're no LFR. No LFR in Mop. Very interesting. Like, it really makes me wonder if they're gonna remove it in Modern at some point. That's kind of... I would not be for that. But... We'll have to see. I hope they don't. But we're not talking about that. One of the things they've done is they've now added what are celestial dungeons. Okay. Basically, there's no LFR, so they're putting LFR loot into celestial dungeons. And celestial dungeons, hold on, I guess get this currency. But here's the interesting part. They're adding these mounts. Okay? They're adding these mounts. And there is challenge modes. Alright? This one we've already seen in retail with a saddle. So that's interesting. I wonder if we'll see these just with saddles added to them. Or if they'll just be the August Celestials. But people are, of course, like, yo, I want these mounts. What's up with these mounts? Because we see this. Complete a Celestial Pandarian Dungeon achievement below. And you get the crane. If you do all those dungeons on Celestial mode. And this was the original post. Raid Finder is not in Mop Classic. Celestial Dungeons are a new additional difficulty tier selectable from the Dungeon Finder, designated for players who are ready to move beyond heroic dungeons, infused with occasional raid level mechanics and enemies, including appearances from bosses of the original raid tier. Alright, inside, players will commune with the August Celestials, gaining powerful blessings to overcome enhanced challenges. Strategic use of these blessings will be key to success. It's almost like some of the better M+ affixes, like Encrypted, it sounded like. You also find gear that offers more power than heroic dungeon gear, including all items that used to drop in Raid Finder, particularly tier pieces. Items that will be target farmable as well as random drops. Currency drop from bosses that you can use to purchase a wide variety of the above. Legendary quest progress. With quest additions made to preserve the lore, should players choose to use celestial dungeons rather than the raids to progress the legendary quest chain. So if you never did the legendary quest chain, Mop Remix is going to be the place to do that. Not Mop Remix. Mop Classic is going to be the place to do that. So, Celestial Dungeons will grow with each tier. Throne of Thunder, Siege of Ogre will bring new threats and rewards and new celestial powers to master. Previous tier rewards will remain available, so Transmog Hunters and Collectors won't miss out, which is interesting. They're talking about Collectors now. Alright, and we're going to talk about that. Celestial Dungeons will go live 2 weeks after Mogushain Vaults open, giving players time to explore the raid before diving into this new challenge. We believe this approach keeps the spirit of Classic alive, rewarding commitment, encouraging social play, and offering meaningful progression. So, new... It's almost like Mythic Plus, but I don't think it scales up. I don't think this scales up. It's just a higher level difficulty. So that's really cool. And it will change season to season with boss stuff. And, yeah, here's all the stuff they're testing. And here's the next interesting part. They've been making the reps a little bit easier. So bind on account, Cloud Serpent Riding. Huge upgrade when that was made account wide. And you can just ride the serpents. So I can grind that rep again. I may be for that again. I really like that grind. It was fun collecting eggs. But here's the interesting part, right? I talked about all these changes with Mop Classic. The main thing I wanted to do, okay, I'm going to do the thing for the mount. Alright? My next goal, which I can get started on right now, get a tune to 85. Okay, get someone ready in Cataclysm Classic to maybe go and play Mop. Alright? Because there's some new stuff I want to check out. I like Mop. Mop was up there on my favorite expansions. But they're doing interesting stuff for collectors here. And in this recent survey question that I misread in my original video, but the survey question was very interesting to me. Okay? So let's read this correctly. Regardless of which version of WoW is your current main version, which version of WoW do you think you'll become your main version in future once Classic Mists of Pandaria ends? Okay? So this is talking about Mop Classic ending. If this is true, this may be fake, but this really has me thinking. And then when I read Blue Post, because that was a Blue Post that I read here, talking about transmog and collection. Where was it? So transmog hunters and collectors. Okay. Let's stop. Classic era, i.e. vanilla style server around with my mop characters. Very interesting thing, going backwards with the mop character. A different version of classic without my Miss Pandaria character, so that'd be like a classic plus. Retail and modern WoW with my mop characters. Interesting. Wrath of Lich King Classic or another earlier expansion with my mob characters. Again, this backwards thing. Classic Warlords or Drainer if it becomes available. Maybe a thing. A permanently frozen Mop Classic realm with no further updates. I wouldn't be for that. I do not plan to continue playing WoW after the end of Classic Miss Pandaria. But here's the thing which is interesting to me. If they don't do Classic WoD, you know, we could be sitting on WoD, and my problem will continue for another expansion, because we're going to talk about my problem. But my reason for some interest in Mop Classic. Retail and modern WoW with my mop characters. If there is no Warlords Classic and this is an option, does anything that you've earned on that character in this classic server with these new mounts, some new, with maybe challenge mode duns. I've never done challenge mode on retail. I can't go back and get that. On this server, well, we'll talk about that in a second, but there's mounts that you can get on this that you aren't able to get on retail. Would a character that has got the stuff here transferred over to retail? Maybe you're someone who's got the AQ Gong mount, the Black Kiraj battle tank. Yo, is this your chance to get it on live? Maybe you didn't do it on live, but you did in classic. Is this the moment people have been waiting for? Because here's the thing. If you really want people to move between the classics, especially if they're talking about transmog hunters and collectors, we need some level of collection, at least from classic to retail. I'm not saying retail to classic. Some people would want some retail to classic. You know, that's true. But classic to retail could be really good, right? I'm sitting here looking at having to rebuy my heirlooms, right? And it's like, oh my god, here I go again. But what if it's for someone new, right? For say someone in classic, right, buys these heirlooms in classic and goes to retail. Why can't they have their heirlooms they bought on the base level? You know, help retail help classic players get a head start in retail, and then help retail players go back and get stuff they missed. For me, it's perfect. Retail players come back, get stuff they missed. Classic players get some stuff in retail to give them a bump up. I think it'd be cool. And I may have to do challenge modes, because if I can get a challenge mode done character into retail and get my phoenixes that I'm missing, that would be huge. So, my Mop Classic plans, get that monk. Doesn't got to be a monk, but you want to level that Pandaren for the retail mount that we do get. And then I'm going to really be looking forward to trying to get a challenge mode character done. If on the off chance Blizzard decides to give some crossover. I ain't doing Time Lost Proto Drake 2, though. I'm not doing Time Lost Proto Drake 2. That's too much. But anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. This is all a what if. I don't know. I just wish they would combine because there are so many mounts. And my biggest pet peeve right now is that in retail, this achievement does not have the Plague Proto Drake, but it does on Classic. Same with the Black Proto Drake. This is killing me. Blizzard admits they never should have been removed, and I gotta get this in Mob Classic and see if I can get this moved over. Anyways, thank y'all again. I'll see you next time. I got a level in Classic. Bye-bye.